It was always my idea in going into business for myself to do it better than anybody else. Instead of having a lot of contracts in hand, I was forced to go out and bid everything as a new entity. And while people knew the name McGill, they didn't know anything about McGill Restoration. And I was somewhat blessed. I mean, these guys that were working for me when I started the company were guys that I'd worked with in the field side by side, that, you know, I'd worked as their boss for 5 or 6 years, running that part of Frank McGill Inc. And, you know, I had a great deal of trust in those people and in their abilities. And so while it wasn't maybe as large a crew as what I would have deemed perfect, you know, it was a crew that could get the jobs done. And I probably was wearing too many hats then. I mean, I did all the hiring and firing, I did all of the estimating, I did all the billings, I did everything. I worked 80, 90, 100 hours a week to get done.
I guess I'm just amazed that he could do this all on his own when he, you know, there's so many different components now to everything that goes on, and he did this all, he wore those hats for everybody, and how he grew this company is just amazing to me.
Day to day was real busy. He's overseeing all the jobs, the projects that were going on over Omaha. So he'd average about 200 miles a day driving from job to job and making sure that everybody's doing everything safely and jobs were performing good. And it was pretty hectic every day, you know. It was 60-hour weeks, sometimes 70-hour weeks. But at that time I was young. It was easy to do.
30 years ago, it was obviously smaller. Tim Sr. and I were basically the two in the office, so I was more aware of everything that went on, all the jobs that he was bidding, all the jobs that we received. We had about 30 to 35 guys working in the field, compared to about 50 to 60 now.
Most of the people here have kind of been developed from within, and we've had good people here in the past, and they've passed on what they know, and others have just followed their lead. And we have a great staff from all levels. You know, it's office support, the people in the warehouse, the superintendent level, the foreman, and our workers down.
That's another thing that we feel is a difference maker for us, is that our customers know that, you know, we've got great guys that work for us in the field. Our office, our field, we just have a really good workforce, and it starts with the values of the guys first and foremost before their skill set.
It takes everybody to get anything accomplished. So everybody really does their part, what they need to do, and communicate. It's a great place to work. Now, obviously, I wouldn't be here this long, right?
There's people here that have been here from the conception of this company 30 years ago. You know, having people that you know, their family, their kids, their favorite sports teams, their likes, their dislikes, and I think you know, Tim and Rich and you know, having Kelly involved as well, it kind of keeps that it is a family business. Not so much worried about returning dividends, about, you know, the people that work here and their safety going home every night.
Back then, really all we did was work on buildings. You know, we tuck pointed and caulked and cleaned on buildings. And so it's really changed in the years since then, because now we do a lot of other things. But people looked at me and said, you know, this guy, yeah, he knows what he's doing. I mean, I had a lot of satisfied customers. I was building a customer base. A lot of those people that I was working for were people that I had done work for, running work for, bidding work for Frank McGill Inc., and they stayed with me. And some of those customers really helped me out. People like Northwestern Bell, which of course has changed names a few times since then, and First National Bank, and some companies like that I did a lot of work for, ended up helping me out along the way. And I mean, they helped themselves out too. I gave them very good work on the jobs that they did, but, you know, without maybe some of those jobs they had, I don't know what would have happened to me.
I've been with Mutual of Omaha for 36 years in the facilities management department, and they were working under the name of Frank McGill Inc. at the time I started there. Tim Sr. was, and they've been with us doing this same work for 36 years, but 30 of them underneath the name of McGill Restoration. Tim and his dad have been so friendly to work with and easygoing to work with. They're not salesmen. I'd call them craftsmen, or they're just good businessmen. They know the business approach. Their customer service has been outstanding. When we've had questions to ask, they've answered them, and they've had answers for us.
The pride that they have from top to bottom, going from Tim all the way down to on Ben, all the guys on site, the quality of the work they do. I mean, they take everything very personable. It's just very nice to work with a contractor who's doing every job like he's doing it for himself. I mean, like I said, they do just fantastic work, and just pleasant people to be around. Just, it's always nice to see those guys when they come in the morning.
McGill Restoration is unique. They are very fast paced and very motivated to performing work correctly and trying to generate enough work to keep all our people busy.
I didn't start the business thinking that my sons will carry it on. When Rich was a senior in college, I was at the point that I really needed to hire another estimator. And so I started talking with him about it and told him that I really wanted him to come to work for me. If that was something he thought he'd like to do, then I had a spot for him. And he didn't give me an answer for a long time. Maybe I didn't express the urgency that I felt, but I thought, well, I'm not going to push him. After about 3 months, when I didn't have an answer, I called him back and I said, I'm going to have to hire somebody, and I'd like it to be you. And then he said, yeah, I'll do that. So I was really glad when he decided to do that, and Tim probably at about 2000 started working here in the office. Well, they're both very experienced guys, and by the time that I decided to retire in 2010, I felt totally comfortable in their ability to run the company.
When my dad left, it was fairly seamless because he had worked very hard for a lot of years and got the business to a point where he was happy with things, and he was very successful and had faith in my brother and myself and our superintendents and foremen and workers on down to where we had things under control.
I got the sense that when my dad retired that he was very comfortable leaving the company in our hands as well, and that made me feel good. I'm sure that was tough for him to walk away.
When I first got into the business, he would leave on a Thursday afternoon to go on a fishing trip, and he'd call like 3 times on Friday, worrying about everything going on.
But at the same time, he had seen us taking that on and being successful at it. So he had I think he did it very appropriately. I mean, he didn't just decide one day he was going to leave. He made sure that we were capable and that the company was going to be in good hands when he left, and it has been.
McGill Restoration is such a different company today than it was 30 years ago. It's really evolved. It's involved in a lot of things that it wasn't involved in 5 years ago, which have been very successful for the company. I think that what they're doing is great. Like I said, they're smart guys and they're honorable guys, and they really still honor the principles that I kind of hammered into them were important. That this is not a short-term business. You want to work for somebody this year and next year and the year after that and 10 years from now. You want to be able to work for them constantly. And so the only way you can do that is, whatever you tell them you're going to do, make sure you get it done to their satisfaction.
Being here 30 years after McGill Restoration was started, I'm just really proud that the company was built, the foundation was laid by my dad. He put in decades of blood, sweat, and tears, and then we are taking it to that next level. We've seen a lot of growth in the last 5 years, and that's all because we've got a good name and a good reputation, and it's really fun just getting to see the company continue to succeed.
I've seen us change in the way that we're expanding our workforce, whether it be managerial personnel or field personnel, and the type of jobs that we do, from technology-based to, a lot of different gamuts there. So we're getting into more industrial type facilities, kind of targeting who we want to do business with and the type of business we want to do.
Oh, I think it's sky's the limit. I felt like I came in at ground level, and I think it's going to go tremendously larger, meaning we may have other offices. We opened up an office in Lincoln. Like I said, the sky's the limit.
Oh, You know, there's one at the Western Heritage Museum, and it's about this time of year, and we're on the south side of the building, and the sun is just brutal, and the building's white. So we're just sweating, dying. Tim said he's gonna come down. We'll come down about 11:30. So he shows at 11:30, we're all standing out in front. We just run and jump into a Suburban. What are you doing? You're taking us to lunch. He goes, no. So he took us to lunch, you know. It's just, we'd always do that to him, and he'd start coming early in the morning, then he wouldn't come in the afternoons anymore. We used to call him a dangerous man in the field. You know, like, no, don't do that, we'll do that for you. Just get out there. But he was a very smart man. You know, he was, like I said, I couldn't ask for anything better to work for.
Well, I thought I did a lot of talking, but Tim Sr. can talk longer than I can. Tim Sr. is a great guy to work with, and obviously he taught Tim Jr. the trade and how to handle things, and they're very well educated with what they do, and I can't say enough good things about them. They've just been great to work with.
I just want to thank the McGill family. They're a very good family, and they definitely take care of their employees. I mean, they keep their employees happy, and that's probably got a lot to do with the success, because everybody likes the owners and the way they're treated and respected.
To Tim and Linda, Tim Sr., and Tim and Rich and their families, and as well as Kelly, watching how this company has grown as well as they have grown in their careers, and then flattered to be asked to come to work for them and with them. They singled me out in terms of asking me to be a part of their team, which is like being asked to be part of their family.
Just like to say thank you to the McGill family. They gave me an opportunity. I was fortunate enough to be here when Tim Sr. Was still here for a couple years, and really enjoy working with them.
I definitely want to thank working with McGill Restoration. Tim Sr., he was so patient because it was a learning experience for both of us, you know, because he's starting a new company and pulled me in, and I had no idea how to run a company. And it was fun for both of us at the beginning, and got into our own little patterns, and then on the end it's now, okay, now it's time to let this group take over.
I'd just like to thank Tim and Rich and Tim Sr. for giving me a chance to work here, and for just backing me up the whole time.
I like working with Timmy and Rich and Big Tim, and I've always been happy.
Tim McGill, the father, ought to be very proud of his two boys. They are doing a fantastic job. I'd like to congratulate them for their first 30 years of business and wish them the best of luck for the next 30. They're good guys. I'm really proud to know them and to work with them.